Babylon started in 2017 while we were students at the University of Virginia. We'd originally been doing a project looking at the feasibility of small-scale hydroponic systems in refugee camps to help people feed themselves. So that method of growing crops, which we use today, uses 90% less water, the plants grow 2 to 3 times more quickly, and there are no pesticides, chemicals. So we were hooked. We see micro-farming as a part of the kind of circular future. So you're going to have solar panels on your rooftop, you're going to have micro-farms in your basement, and that's going to help us increase self-sufficiency at the business and community levels. I think it's really about adoption. We're at a really exciting point. We have a fantastic, world-leading product, great technology, and the team to execute on it. Based on that, we're like, hey, seems like Integra could be a great partner that want to drive forward adoption, increase access to healthy, fresh produce, and hopefully can accelerate demand. We're one of those exciting industries like solar panels 20 years ago, right? We're at the inflection point, and it's really about trying to find the right partners and access to them that can help drive adoption. So if you're an operator and you're looking at getting a micro farm, we basically take a high-touch approach. So we will consult with you, figure out how many micro farms you need, how we can curate the experience to suit your sustainability goals. And as a company where we make everything here in the US, we have very short lead times, and we can react pretty quickly to get you growing.
Good morning. I'm Sharon Redinger, Director of Sales for Babylon Microfarms. Thank you all so much for taking the time to learn about Babylon Microfarms. Today, I'm joined by Jonathan Darling and Trish Washuta with Sodexo, and they're going to share a little bit about their personal experiences in partnering with Babylon, especially at Waterman Village. So Jonathan, I'm going to turn it over to you for a brief introduction.
Thanks so much, Sharon, and glad to be here today. So my name is Jonathan Darling, folks. I've been with Sodexo 33 years, and I'm a district manager in senior living, and I support Georgia, Central Florida, and North Carolina. So glad to be here, Sharon.
And Trish, over to you. Your background. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Patricia Washuta. I've been with Sodexo since December. I'm at Waterman Village. I've been a general manager for good on 15 years and happy to join the Sodexo team.
Wonderful. Well, thank you both again so much for taking the time to share a little bit about your experiences with Babylon. So Jonathan, I'm going to kick it over to you first. So obviously, Babylon and Sodexo align really well when it regarding our mission around sustainability. And Jonathan, you've shared that the microfarms are really a fantastic vehicle to showcase Sodexo's dedication to sustainable sourcing, plant-based menu offerings, and really for your communities to showcase their dedication to health and wellness in their communities. So can you kind of speak to the sustainability and healthy options for your communities?
Yeah, I'm glad to, Sharon. So, our residents, work in senior living. So our residents are always looking for what are ways and avenues that they can eat healthier. What's a sustainable option, as far as giving back to the local community as well. So, what we're able to do, and Trish and her team, is we utilize, say, the microgreens, the lettuce, the edible flowers, and we're able to put that back into the menu and showcase it with a flyer on the table to let the residents know that this is what you're receiving for that particular meal, and allows them also to have ownership in the. Trish will speak to that point later, but it's that farm to table approach, Sharon, that you get with the microfarms, and that really, in essence, makes it a really an amazing value to those folks.
Wonderful. Well, thank you very much for sharing that, Jonathan.
Yeah.
So I do understand that with Sodexo, you aim to provide 33% plant-based menu options by 2025. Has installing a microfarm help residents kind of choose more plant-based menu options?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, the Sodexo's vision, right, is the Better for Tomorrow 2025, is we want to really focus on the sustainability piece and also the plant-based option. So this definitely helps. It gives Trish and her team the opportunity to, again, add that value back to the menu for our residents, for the staff, for all those that we serve, Sharon. So yes, definitely it's helping us accomplish those goals for sure.
That's fantastic. Well, so tell me, Jonathan, what are some of the largest contributing factors to why, you and Sodexo Seniors teams are implementing these at your communities?
I look at it this way, Sharon, with any partnership, our partners want to see the value, right? What's the innovation? What's in it for them? What's in it for the residents? They're going to make the investment. So we have to make sure that we showcase, here's additional value with Sodexo. Here's what we can provide to you. And also it's important, Sharon, to really have them see the end in mind. What's the return on investment? Babylon is not about saving produce cost. That's incremental. The value is in the resident engagement piece for the marketing team at Waterman, for their IO community, and even obviously, providing the benefit to the AO community, the healthcare community. We can't leave those folks out either. So that's really the essence to me, Sharon, of the partnership.
Well, thank you. Well, we've truly enjoyed partnering with, your team at Waterman, Sodexo, with Asbury Senior Living at, Bethany Village, Normandy Bridge, Solomon's. We've also partnered with some other segments within Sodexo education divisions. And it's been really exciting for us because we love the partnership. And like you said, there's a lot of boxes that we can help check off around sustainability, that resident engagement piece. But so can you explain a little bit about the partnership that you've seen at Waterman so far?
Yes, I mean, it goes, three ways, right? It's Sodexo, it's Babylon, it's Waterman, a great partner over 20 years. We just extended our partnership last year for an additional 20. Andrew DeJean, the CEO, David Wagoo, the COO, David Larson, the CFO. It goes beyond that, right? The leadership team there, the residents. Trish will speak to how we're going to further engage the residents in the process. But I look at any partnership, any relationship, what's the core? Is there trust? Is there value? Is there compassion? Is there responsiveness? Is there follow through? That's a true partner, right? It's not always going to go roses. It's not always going to go the way we want it to go. However, what happens in that moment, right? Do we stop, pause, take a breather, collaborate, move forward? Absolutely. And that's the partnership between the three organizations.
Love that. Well, thank you. Well, before I turn it over to Trish, are there any final remarks that you'd like to share about the partnership with Sodexo and Babylon before we turn it over?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I mean, I see it this way. I use this baseball analogy or softball analogy. The hitter gets up to the plate, Sharon, they can hit a home run, they can hit a grounder, goes up the gap, right? They can hit a single, or sometimes, they strike out, right? They foul out, whatever the case. They don't hit that home run, maybe they fall short. At the end of the day, I compare it to our relationship. Is everything going to be magical? Not so much. However, just like in baseball or softball, you have to really leverage your team, right? You've got to leverage your coaching staff. You got to leverage your baseball hitting staff, things of that nature. And the same thing in this partnership with the three organizations. When we have opportunities for improvement, we have our opportunity to step up. Then we, again, take a breather and then we move forward. And that's what this wonderful and amazing collaboration is to me. So I really appreciate the opportunity.
Well, thank you, Jonathan. I appreciate that. So Trish, I'm going to turn it over to you with some great questions. So with Waterman, what are some of the most profound impacts you've seen at your community in using the microfarms?
Well, when I first arrived, the microfarms were hugely impactful for me. I hadn't seen anything like that before in the assisted living communities that I had come from. And I really felt that it was impactful for and engaging for the residents to see the seed to plate. And I thought that was pretty impactful, and it was enlightening for me. I really enjoyed becoming part of the process.
Wonderful. I know you have some very vocal, amazing residents there who like to get their hands into things. So what are some of the top varieties that they've really asked for?
Well, I was just at a meeting yesterday with a resident who raved about the lettuces that we've produced in the farms and wanted to see more lettuces. And then I have some of the ladies talk to me about the beautiful edible flowers. They didn't realize they could eat flowers. And so it's really great to talk to the residents and really be hands-on with them and find out what the drivers are for them. So lettuces and I think flowers are their favorite.
Well, wonderful. Well, good news. I know the team's, Matt, your account manager, has already shared this, but we are expanding our edible flower menu so the residents will even have more options to select from. But it would be great to get a sense of, more insight from the residents in regards to maybe some of their favorite comments they've shared with you so far.
Well, I will share a couple of their favorite comments. One, I just mentioned that they can't believe they can eat such beautiful flowers. And I will share with the pastry chef who loves the idea of putting flowers on her desserts. And then our savory chefs who think that the flowers go really well with salmon. So the residents love to have the dialogue about where they'll see the flowers next.
Love that. Well, thank you. Well, in regards to engaging residents, I know this is something that, we're kind of collaborating on now. How are you engaging your residents further with the micro farms?
That's a great question. We actually have a training this afternoon, and included is our activities department, our activities chair, which is one of the residents. She's also an avid gardener. So she's so excited to learn about hydroponics and about the Babylon farms and get in depth. And she would love to have the app on her phone. So I really think that this is a great opportunity for us to step into it a little bit deeper and really bring the residents in and really let them have more than just a say on what we plant. I want them to be part of the whole process. And that's the direction we're going.
Wonderful. Well, we are thrilled to be a part of that. And it's always exciting for the engagement piece. I'm sure they'll really enjoy the training with Matt this afternoon. But I'd love for you to share a little bit about, how has Babylon been doing as a partner in service and support for your micro farms?
Well, that's actually a great question as well, because we're in a transitional period. Our champion for the micro farms is no longer on our team, and we actually reached out to your team, and through Sodexo and the Babylon partnership, we're getting the training, the engagement. We have a whole new I want to say lease on life, if you will, on the life of the farm. I'm going to be Farmer Trish, so green thumb is for me. My team at here at Waterford are all cheering me on. I'm not a farmer in my former life, but I've become a farmer.
Well, hopefully with our technology in the app, we can kind of take the guesswork out of the growing, because just like you, I'm not a farmer. I have a couple orchids, one's dead, but I can't kill these plants. So, I think your team, your residents, I'm so excited for the training this afternoon for them. I think it's going to be great. But so you shared a number of ways that the farm has really differentiated your communities. Do you have any kind of final words on why you'd recommend the farms to your colleagues within Sodexo or senior living?
Yes. When I talk to the residents and they talk about the farm, they love the fact that they watched it grow and then it became part of their plate. It's part of the service. It becomes part of the community. They watched it from a seedling to that leaf on the plate, that flower on the plate, that herb, that microgreen. So it's really important to see the process of the growing process. So I feel like that's the added value. Sustainability, fantastic, but the engagement piece is so important. And the fact that we're taking the next step and involving the residents in in the training with Babylon Farms, how fantastic is that? I think that's just next level.
Agreed. Well, Trish, Jonathan, thank you both so much for taking the time this morning. I believe, Chris, we're going to open it up to Q&A.
Yeah, so we have a great question. So we have multiple segments on Sodexo today. And our first question was, are there opportunities for universities to do the same thing? Are there any current installs?
Yes, absolutely. So we have partnered with the University of Wisconsin, and so the team up there, and it's been a fantastic partnership. Their students are actually extremely involved. They're very vocal. They love what we're doing. It's Wisconsin Eau Claire. It's just a fantastic partnership. We've seen tremendous success with higher education, especially around student engagement. One thing that's new that we recently launched was a student internship program. Nazareth is another Sodexo university that we've partnered with. And in fact, last week we just welcomed Liberty University to the Babylon team. And so I'm working with Duke and Rachel, their dietitian. And so she has a student intern who's going to get their hands on the farm, and the students are so excited. So we're counting down the days to the installation, but there's there's a lot of boxes in higher education and K-12 that we can really check off. And I'm delighted to kind of dive into some of those case uses further too.
Yeah, Sharon, if I could add real quick, you know, we've had calls, you and I, with some of our Sodexo local team there at Waterman, and that's something I would certainly support and continue to partner with you on, because we get an opportunity for the Sodexo team to ask questions. We've had university representatives obviously join our call, so glad to do that going forward.
Wonderful. Yeah, Jonathan, I truly appreciate he's been a wealth of knowledge to a lot of Sodexo teams. I know we're in discussions with a couple hospitals within Sodexo that are really intrigued with what we're doing. So Jonathan, thank you again for taking the time to chat with some of those folks.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
We have a second question here. Is it pretty simple? Is how much time is spent per week to maintain the farm?
Sure. So
Yes,
I
I'll
can
take that one. Oh, go ahead, Sharon.
Trish, you dive in.
I'll just dive in. I can tell you that our chef team has been got a little training from our former chef team, and his quote to me yesterday was, "It's so simple, the app tells you what to do," and that I thought was perfect. When he told me that, I felt like I could grow a green thumb.
Well, I love that. And, you know, our goal is we want to make our teams feel very supported. So with the, you know, the app, which is the ease of use for it, with our remote technology, and that's what turns the farms on and off, controlling the environment, we want to make this as easy to manage as possible. So it's all about the engagement, the programming, and that farm to table experience. So Trish, thanks so much for sharing that.
Well, and I would say too, Sharon, that as I referenced in my comments earlier, that, you know, is everything perfect? No, right? And we don't claim to be. Our partners, Andrew and David have been very gracious with understanding that things happen, right? We have transition in team members. It causes us to stop and say, okay, who needs to be re-educated? And also, what can we do to further engage the residents? So, you know, that further extends to the partnership, because it's not all going to go the way we want it to go. Now, it's a great product, don't get me wrong, but like anything else, you have to stay on top of it and you have to re-educate. So thank you.
Yeah.
I have another question here, is how many plants can grow and or varieties are offered by Babylon?
So great questions. So in regards to the farms, and Chris, I don't know if you mind pulling up this slide that shows Waterman.
Sure.
Thank you. Yeah, so we've actually tested at our headquarters here in Richmond, Virginia. We've tested over 300 different varieties from edible flowers. As Trish was sharing, her residents love the lettuces, leafy greens. We're always expanding and adding new things. So for example, you know, edible flowers are extremely popular. So there's typically roughly about 45 to 50 different varieties that your culinary teams can select from. So every single month on a monthly cadence, you get your Babylon box of whatever variety of seed pods you want to grow. Essentially, your menu lives within your app. But keep in mind, you know, you can modify that menu at any time. You know, Trish can reach out to Matt. I know Chef Jason had about ordering some more edible flowers. So that's all the beauty of the partnership, is whatever you'd like to grow, there's no seasonality within the farm. And for your communities, especially if you have certain goals around, okay, we have X number of residents, we want to be fully self-sufficient with these varieties, we can work with your teams to kind of align around whether it's sustainability goals or case uses on that side. But Trish, I don't know if you want to speak to any varieties or things like that.
Well, I will say that the microgreens, the chefs love the variety of microgreens, the flavor profiles that they add as a little added touch to each dish, and they can really showcase their culinary abilities with those. And then I think that we're going to do a little deep dive into some more lettuces with our next harvest. We're going to go with activities and find out different lettuce varietals so that we can bring some something new and intriguing to the residents.
Fantastic.
We're getting a lot of questions, and some of these are definitely going to be answered in a portion where Sharon's going to explain a little bit more in depth about things. We have just two quick ones, I think, to round it out. One is, do we have any farms on any sites outside the U.S.?
We do. So actually, we're setting sails in the seas with MSC Cruise Line. So we partnered with them on one ship. We actually have a chalet in Switzerland. We've partnered with a group over in Ireland, and then we're working with MSC on a second cruise ship. And I apologize, I don't know where that one's setting sails the seas to. But absolutely, we have tons of international. We've expanded into Canada as well. So yes.
Great. And then the last question before we get into your section will be is about K-12. So do we have any farms in K-12 units?
We do. We have quite a few. So we have quite a few school districts up in Massachusetts, New York, over in Texas. And I can kind of speak to more case uses with K-12, but one of my favorites is Friendship ISD. And so we partner with them at 2 different high schools. The special needs students are actually helping manage one of the units. And with the other farm and the other high school, it's actually just for culinary in the cafeteria. So definitely can speak to a lot of the case uses for K-12 because there's some great applications there as well.
Awesome. Well, it looks like the rest of the questions are going to be answered by your presentation in a minute. So we'll leave it up to you guys.
Well, Jonathan, Trish, any last little nuggets that you'd like to share with our attendees today?
Yes, I would say this, Sharon, it's a game changer. Babylon Microfarms is a game changer. Sodexo is blessed to be able to partner with Babylon, a game changer in essence for our clients, for our residents that we serve. I've seen some questions around the hospital side. Yes. Universities. Yes. It's a differentiator in the marketplace. It separates Sodexo from our competitors as well. But also you can't have it without your partnership as an organization and also our clients. So thank you very much for the opportunity. I appreciate it.
Well, Jonathan, thank you so much. We really do appreciate your support. And I've on a personal note, have really enjoyed working with you over the past couple of years. And Trish, thank you too. I don't know if there's anything you'd like to share before we.
Well, I'll just give you a resident's perspective. The quote I have is, "Everything from our farm is delicious." So that's what I'll leave you with.
Thank you.
All right. Well, that concludes this portion of it. And so, Sharon, I'll bring up your slides here in a second. And John, Patricia, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you both.
Bye-bye.
Well, thank you all again so much for taking the time this morning to learn about Babylon. I really hope you enjoyed hearing from Jonathan and Trish. They're wonderful partners, and we truly value and appreciate our relationship with Waterman. At the end of the day, our goal is how do we really bring people closer to their food and really inspire that engagement, provide unparalleled farm to fork dining experiences. And with our micro farms, we're able to do that. And I know a lot of you had asked about, different segments. Absolutely. We've partnered with workplace experience, higher education, K-12. Senior living has just been so impactful, especially with the positive lasting impact we can make for these residents. So today I'm going to share a little bit about our equipment. So we've deployed over 220 of our units across the world. We partner with organizations like Sodexo, who are absolutely amazing, Waterman Village, Asbury Living. We partner with quite a few of your universities. Now they're getting ready to install at Liberty. So these are beautiful focal points. And as your wheels are turning about different installation applications, these are definitely designed for front of house. So we have a lot of clients in the senior living space who feature these in lobbies, in the cafes, the restaurants, the bistros. For a lot of our higher education folks, perfect for residential dining halls. It's all about engagement. So as Trish had mentioned before, we take the guesswork out of growing. So essentially we control the environment with our Babylon IQ software. And the app is really what takes the guesswork out of it. Now, keep in mind with these units, there are a couple things that we need to install the units. So we are dosing the water, the nutrients, pH. So we do need a 1/4-inch flexible cold water line, wall outlet that's dedicated to the unit. And part of our food safety protocols is every 2 to 3 months, the app will tell you it's time for a deep clean, and all that entails is this bottom reservoir right here pulls out, and there's a quick connect for a hose. We actually pour ours on our raised beds right outside, but we just need a sink within 50 feet. Now, one question I get from a lot of the healthcare folks is the food safety aspect. So that was really important for Sodexo corporate. So keep in mind, the units are UL approved. We manufacture them here in our corporate office in Richmond, Virginia. If you're nearby or you ever want to come in for a VIP tour to see the units in person, to see our production facilities, spend time with our team, let us know. We're delighted to do that. And so our goal for your teams is how do we make this an incredible program that's very easy to maintain and use? So the way that's very successful is with our remote technology that's controlling the environment. And then the guesswork, what takes the guesswork out of growing is our guided growing app. So you have an expansive menu, like Trish was sharing. We have edible flowers, lettuces, leafy greens. And whether you're surveying the students to figure out what they want to grow or your residents in the communities, basically every single month you get your Babylon box. All you have to do is pop these compostable seed pods directly in the farm. The app takes over and tells your team when to transplant, harvest, and do some light cleaning. So really taking that guesswork out of growing. Like I said, we want to take the guesswork out of this. One thing that is really critical for our success, and Trish mentioned this earlier about the training for her residents and her team later this afternoon at 1, is having a dedicated Babylon team. So keep in mind, you have a dedicated Babylon account manager, and that's to provide training for the app, ensuring seamless installation when our technicians come to install the equipment. But more importantly, figuring out how we want to implement this program on your campus at your senior living community, because that's really important to us. We want to figure out, what is a hot button for your clients? Is it about resident engagement, or is it more about farm to table dining experiences? So that's where we're going to work really closely with you all to really ensure, we get the partnership up and flourishing in no time. So as I mentioned, we've talked a little bit about specifications. One thing that is beautiful about our partnership is the customization of the microfarm. So you can see on this slide right here a couple of different examples. And I will say, selfishly, your clients will want to see their logo, not so much Sodexo, on your microfarms, but we can get really creative. We have a lot of clients like Dominion Energy where they wanted to speak to their sustainability mission. We have other clients where they just want their logo, their mascot. So keep in mind, our marketing team will work really closely with your team and your client to ensure it has the look and design that you're aiming for. Now, like Trish had shared, it's more than fresh produce. We're all about sustainability, but it's all about engagement as well. So in the bottom right corner, this is LinkedIn's corporate office in Chicago. They actually do a ton of field trips. They bring students in there to actually tour the HQ, but they use it in their cafe. A lot of our clients use it for workplace experiences, but really having that unparalleled farm to table dining experience that Sodexo is known for. And I know for Sodexo, you do have some amazing initiatives around more plant-based menu offerings, and we can check all of those boxes for you. So let's say one of your clients wants to be fully self-sufficient on a certain variety. So MSC Cruise Lines, for example, they wanted to be fully self-sufficient with all of the microgreens that they're serving at their garden kitchen restaurant. So we worked with them to figure out how many units it would take to accomplish that. And we can provide the marketing, the content to kind of showcase, here's the produce that's being grown, and really elevating that experience, but telling those stories. Now, what can you grow within your microfarm? Like I said, no seasonality within the units. So there's lettuces, leafy greens, herbs, edible flowers. So keep in mind, part of your onboarding process with Babylon is figuring out what your team wants to grow and really what makes sense, whether it be at your community or for your university or school, and getting you on a growing cadence that really is impactful to your team. So keep in mind, there's no seasonality, there's no herbicides, there's no pesticides. So just the nutritional value really can kind of resonate quite well with the food as medicine concept. Now, to get the wheels turning, these are some beautiful pictures right here. A lot of our clients love this for farm to fork dining experiences. We have clients like in the bottom left picture right here, University of Louisville, they actually survey their students to figure out what they want to grow within the farm. A lot of our clients love this for specialty pop-up events, but is really that unparalleled farm to table dining experience that you can provide for your clients. And so, especially in the senior living segment, we've had tremendous success, as Jonathan had shared before, about really kind of focusing on the engagement experiences, those farm to plate dining experiences. When you have those specialty dining events on a monthly cadence, really kind of showcasing to the residents, where does our food come from? And that's obviously one of the things that residents look at when they're looking at, where am I going to put my mom and dad? Do they have innovation? They have the highest caliber of produce, fresh options? Are your clients into cooking classes? A lot of our clients love to incorporate their microfarms into cooking demonstrations, cooking classes. So there's so much opportunity, and that's where we work with your team to figure out, how is this going to be best implemented at your community or in your campuses. And I spoke to a little bit of these as well. So this is an amazing opportunity, especially with the engagement for some of our memory care clients. So it's interesting. So the trays that we have, they're called grow serve trays, and we design them so literally you can pull them out, set them on a table. And we have a lot of clients who love this for horticulture therapy. They love it for the cooking classes. But we also have a lot of communities, and I don't know if this resonates with the higher ed folks and senior living, who have raised beds. And we even have residents where they take ownership of these farms. So this row is Elsie's row, this row is Bob's row, and it's kind of like those raised beds. So really kind of taking ownership of those, but also incorporating some of these into some of the special events that Sodexo, that you all are known for on the culinary side. Now, when you were talking a little bit about sustainability earlier, one thing that is really fantastic that we can provide is biannual environmental report cards. And this is a tool to really showcase to your team, here's the positive impact that we're making on the environment, from water savings, nitrogen, food waste. And we do this as a collective. So we actually have it company-wide for all of Sodexo. And let's say, for example, with Asbury Senior Living, we've partnered with them at 3 different communities. And so they have report cards for each one. They also have as a collective. So same with Waterman, multiple farms, and we have those reports to really kind of showcase that data and that positive impact that we're making. There's a couple other boxes we check off around sustainability for my higher ed folks, the HE STARS program, LEED, WELL certifications. So there's a lot of opportunities on the sustainability front. And then food is medicine. I know that's a really big hot button for a lot of my healthcare teams, senior living. Jonathan shared that with me quite a bit as well. So we have some great marketing content because we've actually had our produce lab tested compared to traditional supply chain. And so just the nutritional value, so you can showcase that to your clients, but also there's no pesticides, no herbicides. So what you're providing to your clients is really just kind of unparalleled. Now, I know we've covered a lot of information this morning, so I'm not sure, Chris, if there's any last questions that you want me to dive into, but I truly appreciate the opportunity to meet with you all this morning. And Trish and Jonathan, thank you again so much for being here.